This is a story about Rene Guay, an ex-cop with a violent history from Maine who angrily traveled to Washington, D.C. to participate in the January insurrection while carrying a custom-made baseball bat nicknamed the Commie Corrector. The bat was engraved with the words "Trump won," period, and hidden in Guay's rolled-up American flag. According to a fella that accompanied Guay on his trip, Guay made it into the Capitol carrying the baseball bat. Quote, "But he didn't go far, just occupied it," end quote. First, a little history. Guay is one of 3 cops who shot and killed 52-year-old Catherine Hegarty during a warrantless raid of her remote western Maine cabin in the middle of the night of May 15, 1992. The police killing of Hegarty is complicated and remains controversial 3 decades later. At the time, the Attorney General's investigation cleared the officers of criminal wrongdoing, but criticized Guay and the others, saying their tactics were, quote, "ill-conceived, poorly planned, and hastily executed," end quote, which leads many Mainers to still view Kathy Hegarty's death as an unprosecuted murder. Flash forward 30 years, and Guay runs a wood products company in Dennistown that sells, well, pieces of wood, birch mostly. Guay is also active in a strict end-times Christian cult with strong rules against booze, smoke, or any sort of sin, except, apparently, insurrection. Guay is a hardcore Republican, a donor, and a supporter of Maine's former governor, Paul LePage. And Guay maintains an active social media presence in Maine's extreme right-wing political circles. Despite identifying as a Christian, Guay regularly spews hate and vitriol towards others, including blacks, gays, lesbians, and Democrats. And Guay is a major fanboy of 17-year-old Kenosha, Wisconsin shooter Kyle Rittenhouse, who Guay claims has, quote, "more courage and patriotism than many adults," end quote. And Guay uses the word Kyle as a verb, as in, quote, "we need to Kyle the enemy," end quote. On January 5th, Guay grabbed his bat and donned his shirt especially purchased for the occasion and headed south to Washington, D.C. with 2 buddies.
Okay, we're in New York, heading to swampy D.C. And driving, we have Garnett, the mayor of what's the name of it? Dixmont. Over here we have Carey, the mayor of Jackman.
There. Recorded by the mayor of Dennis.
Yeah.
The first hiccup was getting stuck in New York City traffic. Then he stopped in New Jersey to show a Proud Boy the Commie Corrector. On the morning of January 6th, Guay was ready and waiting to hear from his president.
Here we are. Hey, Carey, say hi to everybody.
Hey, stop the steal!
Yeah, Steve, speaking of Stop the Steal, I picked up, I don't know if you can see it, Stop the Steal.
But a couple hours before Trump's speech, he lost phone service. Then Trump made his speech.
We do have real pollsters. They know that we were going to do well and we were going to win.
But according to Guay, after 20 minutes of political jibber-jabber, he and his comrades ditched the scene and headed to the Capitol.
We're heading towards the Capitol here. We just heard the president talk. We're not really impressed with his talk. It's the same stuff, different day. We want something done. Actually, I'm surprised we can go live here. We've been without cell phone service here all morning.
And they were angry. And Guay, thinking he was getting closer to the Capitol, mishandled his bat.
Whoops, sorry about that.
For a moment, the so-called Commie Corrector, which he had been hiding in his flag, was revealed in his live stream. Then he pointed to the side of the National Gallery of Art and said,
Hey, what do we got over here? There's the cesspool.
misidentifying the gallery as the Capitol, which was still a couple thousand feet away. Soon after, the live stream suddenly went weird and ended. From there on out, it was radio silence for Guay. At the height of the riot, according to his pal's live stream, Guay separated from his friends and disappeared into the crowd. In a later post, he would claim to have been pepper sprayed 4 times. Around the same time, his wife started posting that Guay had been banned from Facebook. Later, though, a source reached out to Guay and his comrades in arms to ask if they had made it into the Capitol. Guay's response was non-committal, but his colleague's response was very specific. Quote, "We were in the back of the building and Rene made it in, but he didn't go far, just occupied it." End quote. And he went on to say that the bat was there. As for the baseball bat, well, the owner of the bat company reached out to Guay, asking him to take down the post bragging about his custom commie corrector. Guay refused, saying he won't, quote, "coward to the commies." By the way, the owner of the bat company has since dissed Guay and his custom bat in saying the company was horrified that their bat was being used as a potential weapon and felt it was, quote, "appalling that we got mixed up with this loser," end quote. The company apologized for producing the bat, saying the engraving had been a mistake and that the company will now review the custom orders to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. And, the owner said, they won't be doing any more business with Guay. In the days following the insurrection, Guay continued to spout violent rhetoric, and then, on January 12th, he agreed to an interview with a TV reporter, which Guay live-streamed on his Facebook page, during which he said he hadn't gone into the Capitol, and then explained the battle at hand.
Of course, I hate to see violence erupt there in the Capitol or any other capital. But even more what I hate to see is a communist takeover. And that's exactly what's happening. We're witnessing a total communist takeover, totally supported by communist China. This is what's taking place. And is there going to be violence? Most likely. I don't see, I'm hoping, this is what we're all hoping, okay? That the president takes some action militarily and puts an end to this and puts people in prison that need to go to prison. That's what everybody is hoping for.
Soon after Guay recorded this video, Trump was impeached for the second time, which made Guay angry and even more convinced the commies were taking over, and that only the military and patriots like him could save Trump and save the US of A. And that made Guay angry enough to quit the GOP, angry enough to swear off voting, and angry enough to delete his Facebook account. And that's the story of Rene Guay, a man who went to Washington, D.C. My name is Crash Barry. For more content, visit devilsanddirtbags.com.